According to your website, Eastside Paddle Club is described as a perfect blend of modern vibes and vintage values.
Honestly, it's gonna sound crazy I'm saying this on camera, but it's gotta be figuring out a well-constructed structure of operating a pickleball facility. But then we opened our doors. For the first month, we got maybe like 20 members. I was so stressed. I was like, this thing's about to flop. I'm about to lose a ton of money. Like, I'm done. Like, my reputation's over.
$5,000 carbon fiber Selkirk nets, good murals around the walls.
Is that how much they were?
He didn't even know.
Just swipe the card, man. Just swipe the card, let it run.
Yeah, that earlier today.
So I think trying to create, I don't know, a company that makes the consumer feel special, makes it feel heard, I think is the biggest thing, because there's so many different people, right? That the second we try to become, I mean, I'm not gonna say any names, but the second we try to be somebody else is the second that we're gonna lose people, because what's different now from us and them.
Hey guys, it's Jack Monroe here with our first guest on our first ever professional actual interview. I'm here with Tarab. I don't know how to say his last name. Okay. And yeah, he's one of the owners of Eastside Paddle Club. I've seen them since they started getting built, and now they've actually built this absolute tycoon of a pickleball facility behind us. And so we're gonna talk for a bit. Hopefully we have a good time. But yeah, I wanna go deeper than surface level and, not this be the typical cliche pod where it's like, how old are you? How long have you been playing pickleball? All this stuff.
100%.
But just for all the viewers, like, just give us some background on yourself. Where'd you come from? Like, why do you play pickleball? How'd you find pickleball? All that good stuff.
So, started pickleball here probably a year and a half ago, right before we opened. Yeah, I love the sport. Think it's great how inclusive it is for kind of all age groups. I'm 25 as of like 4 days ago, so that's great. I'm getting up there in age, but yeah, I love this place, love what we built. Love sport pickleball, honestly, recently. It's just been kind of an addiction, but yeah.
Yeah. No, okay. That's dope. So
Was there anything else you asked?
So you found pickleball literally a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, a year and like 7-8 months ago, but yeah, I played it randomly at a buddy's house, and didn't think much of it. Just looked like a grown up version of ping pong, and burnt about 2,000 calories in the process, and was like, this place is great. Like, this sport is phenomenal. And yeah, did some more research into it, realized that something like this didn't exist in Austin, where it's kind of like a country club in a sense, and kind of had a good background in private equity, and knew how to raise some funds, so just kind of went for it.
Got it.
Yeah. Filled a round up in a week and a half, and this place was born.
Yeah. No, makes sense. It's pretty rare to see somebody with as little, pickleball background.
Oh, yeah.
To really take on this type of
For sure.
Project. But it does. I mean, I think private equity is probably the perfect background if you are going to do it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you and how many people started this facility, and how would you describe Eastside Paddle Club for all the people that see these courses in the background?
Yeah, so it started with myself, and I brought a really close buddy of mine on to partner up with me. Since then, we've brought on 3 more pretty crucial pieces to Eastside, and then, I mean, to answer your second question, this place is kind of, its goal is to break the mold of what an average pickleball club should perform like, should aesthetically look like, and just kind of be a little bit more encompassing towards the community, right? Obviously, we're on East Side, it's a little bit swanky, and that's kind of what we tried to pull off with this, but then it eventually kind of turned into something where people gravitated towards it, love the image, love the culture, so yeah, it's been evolving ever since we opened.
Got it. Yeah. Makes sense. So according to your website, Eastside Paddle Club is described as a perfect blend of modern vibes and vintage values.
Yeah. Wow.
No, that's pretty well said. But what makes Eastside Paddle Club one of the coolest spots in Austin, not only in the pickleball space, but just as a really good social club? And what would you consider to be your moat that keeps all these people coming back?
I know it's probably easier to say from like a surface level, but it's got to be the people, like truly the people. I think at first when we started this, the idea was to kind of create a Top Golf chicken and pickle-esque facility, but as we opened our doors, you see it all the time. I mean, people with pretty solid level, I mean, obviously not 6-0s, but people with really good skill come here and they just love the place. They love the people that are here. They can always get consistent high level competition. And it just brings everybody under one space where people can just socialize and enjoy and play some really good pickleball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, starting up a pickleball facility is no small feat whatsoever.
Yeah.
What have been some of the most difficult challenges that you've faced when starting this place up?
Damn, honestly, it's gonna sound crazy I'm saying this on camera, but it's gotta be figuring out a well-constructed structure of operating a pickleball facility. This is my first venture where it's more consumer-based. So I think trying to create, I don't know, a company that makes the consumer feel special, makes it feel heard, I think is the biggest thing, because there's so many different people, right, that have different preferences to like what they expect or what they want out of something like this. So I think making everybody feel like their voice is heard and actually taking what criticism we get and using it, I think is probably the hardest thing. And then I think like building the culture, right? The first couple months, I mean, when we opened, I know it was only 1 month, but we opened and we had, I think, 1,500 pre-signups.
Wow.
So people like inquired on our newsletter, inquired about a membership, right? But then we opened our doors. For the first month, we got maybe like 20 members. I was so stressed. I was like, this thing's about to flop. I'm about to lose a ton of money. Like, I'm done. Like, my reputation's over. But, I mean, second month, third month, I mean, ever since January of this year, we've just consistently grown. We've tried our best to implement proper programming, something just really that sticks, right? Where no one's going to get upset. It makes everybody happy. So, I mean, that was our biggest thing, was initial programming, and I think making everybody feel heard and wanted.
Yeah, got it. So I will say East Side in specific, compared to the other facilities, other than, I mean, the only other place that rivals your guys' is like high-end kind of, I would say, aesthetic that you guys have is Hell's Kitchen in New York City. They do something similar, but you guys have
sick name.
Yeah. But you guys have probably the most high-end facility that I've seen. I mean, anything just from the bathrooms. I mean, you guys have marble in your showers. Like, you guys have very high-end builds. I mean, you guys have $5,000 carbon fiber Selkirk nets, good murals around the walls.
Is that how much they were?
He didn't even know.
Just swipe the card, man. Just swipe the card. Let it
I
run.
told Jack that earlier today.
Yeah.
Like, right before
The carbon fiber ones are like $4,300.
Holy shit.
But yeah, so I mean,
my God, we've
you
broken
guys,
like 5 of
you
them.
guys spared no expense, especially like repainting the walls, putting murals on the walls. Like, these murals, obviously
Not
aren't
cheap.
free.
Yeah.
You guys didn't cut corners at all.
Yeah.
You see a lot of facilities cut corners in certain places. Knowing that, I mean, is it reasonable to expect profitability on day one, or is this a longer term project in that aspect?
So when we first kind of got that initial boost of membership, I honestly thought, all right, 4 or 5 months in, we're about to turn a profit. Like, it's gonna be crazy. But we're 8 months in. We're basically at the break-even point. So hopefully here in the next month or so, we turn profit. So it's been something where I, after really looking at it, didn't expect us to really turn a profit that quick. But I mean, I think what we've been doing month over month in terms of like striving to do better, I think has really been received well from our membership base.
Yeah. No, makes sense. I mean, like every time when I walk in here, it's like it's definitely a different atmosphere than most. I would say personally, like, I'm a big fan of buy it nice so you don't have to buy it twice, because I've made the mistake and buying a cheaper camera and then the camera quality is bad, so then you just have to get a better camera anyways, or anything that you want to last. Actually buying the premium version of it.
Yeah, we did that hit and miss, right? There's certain things where we bought thinking, maybe this can be a great placeholder for a while. And then, I mean, dude, remember that time we had fences? Yeah. We had a beginner come in and just run over the fence, destroyed the whole fence. It was like $7,000, it just went down the drain. But, obviously now, I mean, I think we've done the proper fences. We've done everything, I think, the first time most of the time the right way.
Yeah, yeah. So what's been your process to figure out when to buy things nice or when to kind of opt out and get that cheaper placeholder? Like for these nets, like what you said, I mean, you guys evolved when, you guys had those, those like little Yola fences,
Oh my
to
gosh.
prevent balls, but now you guys are actually building fences.
Yeah.
How do you know when to do that, or something like your showers where you guys just went straight to the premium items?
That's actually a great question. So, I think looking back on it, we should have done it the right way, the first way, but I think it was the fear of not truly understanding in a pickleball facility what's really worth it, right? Because when I thought of a fence originally, I was like, okay, I just need something to prevent balls from going back and forth. Like that's what it is. But then you see other facilities really investing a lot of dollars into like a substantial, well-structured fence. It kind of makes you think like, okay, maybe that's something worth investing into. So there's certain things where we were like, maybe we should hold off. Now looking at it, if I were to take this somewhere else, I'm gonna make sure everything's done right the first way, just because I know it adds up quick. But I don't know, the showers.
Yeah, yeah. Or like look
Showers
at
are the showers.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
No,
showers.
you're right. But like same with this bar. We're going to talk about this a little bit later, but you guys really spared no expense, and it really shows.
Yeah.
Like you guys have sound mufflers up on the top in between. Oh my gosh, what do you call those? What do you call the
Sound panels?
Yeah, you have the sound panels in between the things on the wall, the vaults. Well, no.
I don't know. It's
I'm
like
blanking,
T-tops,
bro.
I think they're called.
Yeah.
Like technically.
Yeah. And
like that glass, the antique glass was 10 grand.
Yeah.
That shit was so expensive.
Yeah,
It hurt my heart.
exactly. So like you guys, it seems like you guys know that in order to keep that premium brand, you
Yeah.
guys have to spend, those premium
Unfortunately.
price tags.
Yeah.
In order to keep that community.
Yeah.
And in terms of creating your community, you guys have done a great job. It's not only a facility, but a community that you talked
Yeah.
about. Like, it's a club, but it's all encompassing. Like, on the court, you guys have a girls' night. You guys also hold corporate events here as well.
Yeah.
And you guys do a run club. You guys do an Eastside Paddle Club run
Yeah.
club, which is super cool. I wish I could go to it, but it's at like 5 in the morning or like 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning. I'm out of shape, so I don't come.
So there's no chance. There's no chance of going to that run club. And we've also talked about for a while like hosting car meets here.
Oh, yeah.
When are you going to host car meets?
I don't know. Dude, I want to do it so bad. I think logistically speaking, it's so much you have to get approved. And like basically, I think looking at it and reaching out to people, because I did try to do it, you have to get like confirmations from basically large groups of people, right? Like you're obviously taking a risk on people showing up in attendance and how many cars you can get. But there's got to be these certain, you can kind of relate this a little bit to Eastside, but there's got to be certain pillars, right? Where if they show up, people are going to follow. That's why I think what we did for Eastside is great, because, you train here sometimes. I know you're at the lab and stuff, but the fact that you choose this as like a place where you can come practice, it's like a pillar, right? You have professionals that are here, you have high-level 5-0s that are here. So I think having pillars that really believe and buy into what you're trying to do is a great thing. So I think you can relate that to cars, right? If I were to have my buddy at Ferrari show up, you're gonna have abundance of exotic cars now showing up, and now you have an easy, quick turnaround of a car meet. So if I pull up, all right, you might get one person showing up that's like, hey, what's up? But it's not really going to translate into much. So I think like to relate it to, I guess, one sense is there's just a lot, and making sure you have the pillars.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I'm honestly glad that you're holding off, because then once I get my C8, I want to start pulling up.
Did you get one?
Eventually, I have a different I have a certain threshold that I need to hit, and then
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna get it. So I'm not like too
I can respect
stupid.
that.
Yeah.
You see the 0-1, no?
Yeah. No.
Is that what you're gonna get?
Disgusting. I don't know. I'll probably get a C8, just because it'll be like.
That's a great.
Yeah.
That's a great upgrade from what you currently got.
Yeah. I drive a Chevy Volt. It's the best car that I've honestly
Gas
could ask for.
mileage.
Yeah. But it seems like your background in private equity helped you really. I would say substantially increase the timeline for building all of this, or kind of creating your community. Because I remember one of the times when we were here like 6 months ago, you got the people, the people behind the artist Medusa to come
that
and
was
hit with
crazy.
us.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing with private equity too is like, I don't necessarily think it relates to it, but I think what I learned doing that is what really helped this place out, which it's just building connections, right? Asking the questions, being friendly. I mean, I think that was the biggest thing, right? Is I wouldn't have met Mo, who's a really close with Medusa, and then obviously we kind of became close too. But I really wouldn't have met him unless if I was closed up and shy and stuff like that. I don't think I ever would have met him. And the fact that we met, it opens up a lot of opportunities. It opens up a vast network. So I think like the biggest thing is just networking.
Yeah,
That's so crucial.
No, you're right. And even for like car meets, like, I mean, if you guys, instead of having a normal car meet, getting the people that you know from the dealerships to come.
Support.
To come and support.
Up,
I mean, that's definitely huge for making this stand out. Or like the F1 event. F1's coming in 2 months now.
It got postponed.
I'm stoked.
Okay. But something else is coming up on the horizon. But unfortunately for F1, we didn't have enough time to really plan that.
No, it makes sense. But I remember hearing about a Red Bull event you guys hosted here, because you guys also host corporate events.
Yeah, we had Red Bulls. I don't even know if I can say who was here, so I probably shouldn't say anything. Yeah. But cool event. Yeah, it was a cool event, but it was wild to see the people that were in there just in our space, right? I think that was really cool.
I would say, what caused you to really, I guess, dream bigger, to find funding, or have, to have, rather than just throwing your money or three of your buddies' money into creating a smaller facility, kind of dreaming big and just knowing that you're going to find funding?
Yeah, private equity was like a blessing. And then I got pretty lucky in having some equity in some bars downtown. So it kind of taught me a lot of what kind of consumer goods are, right? But I think it was the second we hit like a 6-7 month, a couple months ago, reality, but understanding that what we've built can get bigger, right? I think throwing your own personal equity into something is obviously a risk, right? It's an educated guess, or an educated risk. But when people that, like our corporate team that we added, when people like that start kind of believing in what you're doing, it gives you a little bit more confidence and motivation, knowing that you're onto something positive. So like moving forward, when we have other locations, it gives me a little bit more confidence knowing that what we're doing is the right thing, and it can succeed pretty quickly. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah.
I think that answers the question.
No, you're right. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and it also allows you to then truly. I'm not trying to say buy more stuff, but for example, like instead of just putting pickleball courts in, you can put in a cold plunge or a sauna or a bar or something like that to allow your players or allow your members to have access to more things and create the deeper relationships with their peers. Does it even matter, or how important is it to have not just a pickleball court, but invest in amenities as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think why we went for so many amenities is I think what our brand is trying to become is a really high level standard of a pickleball club, right? And that just can't have just courts, right? When you go to like a premium golf country club, right? You have so many different things. You have a gym, you have a restaurant, you have showers, locker rooms, premium locker rooms, and all these abundant things, which then bake into certain value, right? So I think where we're at is I think our services, or what our membership is not crazy valued in this grand spectrum of pickleball facilities, but I think us adding it just as like an amenity for like, hey, like we appreciate you signing up for a member and we enjoy you being a member. Like, please have these showers, have these locker rooms, have our co-working space, right? And I think it just makes then that member feel like they're more special. So I don't necessarily think every pickleball facility needs to have amenities, but I think it's a great play to make everybody feel wanted and special in some sense.
Mm-hmm. And so do you think your brand would be as strong if you were just pickleball courts with a viewing area instead up here as a bar? Or
it's actually tough.
Instead of selling t-shirts, you just sell paddles or something like that?
I don't know. It's a really good question. I mean, I never really gave it much thought, but I would like to say no, because I think when you think of Eastside, you don't necessarily, obviously the culture and the members are great, right? And that's the initial thing you think of when you think of Eastside. But I think just there's like a small, maybe 10% of your thought of Eastside is the amenities, right? Even though no one's going to use it 100% of the time, it just being there, I think, is an added value, right? In case you're ever like, hey, like, I want to go grab a drink, I want to go play some pickleball too. Like, we have that opportunity, right? Or I have a business call in the morning, but I'm gonna play with my friends at 12.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's like those rare occurrences that you appreciate the space more. So
Yeah. No, and honestly, Austin's the perfect breeding ground for a facility like this.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like the co-working space.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because so many people
Yeah.
work from home or like, I mean, honestly, if it isn't smack dab middle of summer, like you go to courts at, noon
Yeah.
on a Tuesday and it's still packed.
Yeah.
Which is nuts because, I mean, obviously those places don't have as deep of a community, but it's like,
so-
bro, get
yeah.
a job.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. I mean, when people are here, it really makes me happy seeing our co-working space being thoroughly used.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, I never really bought into the co-working space thing. I mean, I know there's like incubators for companies, but I don't know. I didn't think much of it until just randomly come in to do some like meetings and stuff like that, and I'll see people enjoying and actually like talking and using the co-working space. It makes me really happy. Like it really does. So it's a great addition.
Yeah. And another thing that I noticed when I was talking with Jay Lerner, which is the owner of Urban Pickleball as well.
Jay's dope.
Yeah, he's really cool. He has a similar demographic, but I definitely want to hear your input where just pickleball in general or these more premium facilities obviously attract more affluent members as well as younger members. Is that
Yeah.
a trend that you see in pickleball in general, or is that Eastside Paddle Club doing a good job attracting those type of members?
I think it's both. Like, I think it all really relates still to the culture, I think, at the end of the day. The fact that we have this steady base of, like, a solid group of people are going to want to play with those people, right? Like, I mean, I know I'm not that great, but seeing you here makes me, even though I know I can't get in the game with you guys, but seeing you guys here and just watching you guys play, it makes me being like, you know what, this spot's really cool. Like, even though I'm, 25 and I'm part of this place, if I was someone looking out in, I would still love to be here because knowing it's a place where high-level people can play or anybody can play, right? Seeing college kids play here, I mean, David, like seeing him play here and actually fitting in and doing a really good job doing it, I think is like a testament of we're just very encompassing to everybody, right? We're not going to exclude people that don't know how to play. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. But yeah, we just want to appeal to everybody, I think is like the basis of it. So I think we just done a good job organically attracting kind of all the demographics.
Yeah. I remember one of my first experiences up at Urban Pickleball. It was really like a reality check for me. Somebody brought me aside and was like, yo, like, do you know the 4 people on this court? And it was one of my first times I was on the court. And I was like, and I was just watching, and he was like, this guy owns a CBD company. This guy owns a private equity firm, just exited for $100 million.
Oh my God, yeah.
This guy owns a crypto company. And he went through all 4 of them. And I was like, bro, you're the same age as me?
I know.
Like, are you kidding? And that's a similar like vibe that I get here, in which like obviously it attracts every type of demographic.
Yeah.
But I do see like some more high-end members,
Yeah.
and it's nuts to think about, like, the C-suites, the owners, the founders.
Yeah.
And I mean, the kitchen pickleball has also talked about how a lot more business has been going down in pickleball.
It's the new golf.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's the new golf.
So I think that we'll start seeing a lot more of
Yeah.
those types of conversations, and therefore people that
Yeah.
are playing pickleball, and then you get off work 2 p.m. or whatever 5 p.m. on a Tuesday,
And just go ahead
and you
and
see
head to the course, yeah.
these people, and
Yeah.
it's like it's nuts.
Yeah. A lot of our members are I think the best way to say is well off. So we've done a really good job by, encompassing everybody, right? You'll walk in and I know there's one time, I'm not going to say any names, but figured out who this person was. I mean, this person's got like a $450 million net worth. Didn't even know.
Yeah.
Didn't even know. And it's crazy because like he just seems like an average Joe here. Like, right, doesn't doesn't pull up in a nice car, doesn't really do anything, just chills. So and we have a lot of those people here, and it's really cool to see just everybody being a part of the space.
Yeah, especially here. Like, I mean, it's nuts to think about, but you have that guy and he has his shirt off, like blasting music, and it's like they're actually a normal person. And you've actually allowed like Longhorn Pickleball to come here.
Oh yeah.
And have sessions as well. Like, I mean,
I thought you were gonna say something else. I thought you were like, you actually allow people to take their shirts off. I was like, no, we don't. No, we don't.
But yeah, like, I mean, Longhorn Pickleball comes here sometimes to train as well. And I mean, you have open play. I've taught clinics here as well.
Yeah.
And it truly is all encompassing. But yeah, I would say another thing that this entire facility has done really well is finding not only sponsors, but really top-notch high-end sponsors.
Oh yeah.
Like,
you've done a great job.
I mean,
with that. Yeah.
yeah. Like, I mean, you've just signed with Ghost. You have a deal with Skechers.
Yeah.
You have a couple of those other like high-end type of brands that holds a lot of notoriety in the community.
Yeah.
And so, how do you go about approaching those types of companies to sponsor a pickleball facility? I know it's a club, but in their mind, they're like, bro, like, why would we sponsor
For
pickleball?
sure. It's something I never really gave true thought to as well. But I think that can kind of go back to just networking. I mean, knowing and pitching in a really well, true sense, right? But with our bar, for instance, is we have Bacardi, Patron, Grey Goose, Corona, Happy Dad. So we have like these crazy lists of names, but I think it was them really buying into the vision of what this company can turn out to be. We obviously, our space first priority isn't necessarily liquor, right? But it's the sport of pickleball as a whole has a lot of eyes on it. It's the fastest growing sport in the US, right? So I think these brands are seeing us in a sense of like, maybe we're the gateway to having their brands be well established in the pickleball space. Plus, I think our branding, our whole image as a company is just really coinciding, I think, with a lot of these brands. Like, I know Happy Dad's pretty out there, Yes. They do some crazy shit. I don't know if I can cuss. But yeah, they do pretty crazy stuff. And I mean, we don't do anything crazy yet, but what we are trying to do is really get out and break this barrier of just us being pickleball, right? I mean, pickleball is obviously the main draw to our company, but we're not just trying to be that. And I think a lot of these companies are always down to do some crazy things and be a part of a space that allows them to do the same thing, right? So yeah, Ghost was a great thing. I mean, that was strictly off of networking and knowing some people. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's just been a lot of great brands. I mean, there's more to come. We just got sponsored by GMC, so that was great. But
how cool would that be to hang a Hummer on a wall?
Well, I'm supposed to be getting a Hummer. Like,
are you serious?
I'm supposed to be getting a Hummer.
They're dope. They are pretty dope.
Terrible battery mileage, but great car.
Bro, the battery of a Hummer weighs more than a Civic.
You know how much they weigh though, right?
9,000 pounds?
Dude,
yeah, nuts.
The
battery is like 3,200.
That's 4 tons, bro. Have the bridges like you can't even go on a bridge. Yeah, but yeah, I just think what we've done from a imagery standpoint it's been phenomenal. Like, it's been great.
Yeah, and I'd say one of the words that comes to mind is the word pioneer, because in this space, the typical pickleball facility has been, like, not like a mom and pop, but like that older person that wants to open a pickleball facility. They get paddles to send, or they get paddle companies to send them paddles on a wall. They have court bookings for these for each court, and then other than that, they'll get a title sponsor from a pickleball brand, like Selkirk will pay them $100,000, or ProXR will pay them $100,000. Yeah, Yola, and then that's it. Like, that's the brands that they reach out to. They're really enclosed in the pickleball space, which is a good thing, but they don't really
help the sport grow though.
Yeah,
right?
Like these types of sponsors are really just. You're navigating uncharted waters because this is all new. I mean, who knew? If 2 years ago, I mean, someone told you like
Happy Dad was in pickleball, you'd be like, "Are you serious?" Yeah. But I mean, I think, like, to add on to that, it's interesting because a lot of these bigger chains have, like, you're not generic, right? But they have your obvious sponsors, right? Which is just merely pickleball focused. but it doesn't help the sport grow because everything is continuously kept in house, right? I think where we are is, we obviously have the classic, right? We're with Yola, we're with 6-0, we're with Selkirk. I'll take a Pro XR. I'll take a Pro XR deal all day. But I think where we like excel is just being able to break out this mold, right? Having like a car brand be a part of it, have these abundance of alcohol and energy drink brands be a part of it. It's just different, and I think that's where it makes us way different than any other brand.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And one of the biggest pushbacks that I heard whenever I used to mention your name was like East Side's cool, but they're not profitable.
I was like, people talking shit about me.
Like East Side's cool, but oh my God, they're spending so much. Or East Side's cool, but they're not going to be profitable. I mean, it seems like you guys have done a good job. Absolutely, not just completely burning money.
Yeah, I would love to know who said that, first of all. But I mean, we have obviously taken a lot of risk in the financial sector of this business. But I think for us to become profitable, I mean, next month, if that, I mean, it's we've done everything. I think not necessarily the first time right, but we've done everything with a goal to become better and making more money in a right way, right? We're not just necessarily gunning for memberships and taking anyone and everyone, but it's more so of that person that does sign up here is well aware of what they're getting. They know that they're part of something that's just bigger than just local Austin pickleball. So I think that's what we've done in a great way. But yeah, we were at that break-even point. We've obviously taken a risk with this building. I mean, we're in downtown prime Austin on the east side. So, I think what we did it was a risk, but I think it was a great high calculated risk.
Yeah.
But
no, what's the end goal with Eastside? Is in, are you going to franchise it? Are you going to just, own or operate all of the facilities? Or what's the end goal?
I think the end goal for Eastside is we do have about a 7 to 10 year exit strategy. So our goal is to franchise this sucker. After a certain point, right, we are going to corporately own a lot of these things. Every location is obviously going to mimic this. But yeah, with Eastside, I mean, the goal is to franchise this thing. We're going to be taking on some people here within the next year and a half, 2 years. Very strategic locations. It can't just be, hey, I'm going to go to, I don't know, El Paso and just plop one in here, right? No disrespect to El Paso, but that's just not our MO, right? We want to make sure that every spot that we brand out to and place our name on is just the right way to go. So whenever we do have, franchise opportunities, it's going to be a very thorough process for us to hop on board, making sure everything is well set up and it's organized flawlessly, right? From staffing to programming to management to everything, right? But yeah, I really do see this thing blowing up here in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already working on 2 locations. I'm not going to say any location names, but we are working on 2 more locations that are very crucial and will definitely help the brand grow pretty quick. So yeah, and
I will say your name, Eastside Paddle Club, is honestly a great name because you use the word paddle instead of pickleball.
100%.
And I think that is whether it was strategic or not.
Strategic.
Okay, I think that using the word paddle or racket is one of the best ways to keep your doors open for padel or for any other type of sport. That's the same thing that LS has been doing. They do a racket club as well, rather than a pickleball club. And I also think pickleball, even though it's more well known, using the word paddle or racket is a bit more prestigious.
100%. Mature.
Yes, exactly.
No disrespect to the sport of pickleball, but I think when you hear paddle club or a racket club, right, it has this emphasis of it's a little bit more high class. You're expecting a better product or a different product than just, a pickleball club, right? So yeah, the name Eastside was definitely at one point was okay, it just makes sense being on the east side. It's called Eastside Paddle Club. But the paddle club was something that it was a must, right? It just differentiates. Holy shit. It just separates us from everything else, and it just puts a little bit more emphasis on what the product we're trying to deliver is.
Yeah. No, and you brought up a good point before we were talking, where it's like, what if you franchise something on the west side, but it's called East Side Paddle Club, and then you were like, what
It's
about
like
LA Fitness,
right? Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
I didn't think about it until I was in a meeting where we were like, maybe we should change the name, right? But then the whole conference was like divided, right? Half of them were like, you know what, maybe we should just change the name. The other half were like, you know what, there is something with Eastside, right? There is something there, right? And that something there is the image, right? Like when you think of us, when you travel or anything like that, there's like this certain, I don't know, I guess bravado is the right way to put it, but like you think of Eastside as a higher end place to be. And I think us changing it kind of takes away that like legacy in a sense, right? Even though we're only 8 months in, I feel like what Eastside has done in these 8 months is a great leap for future pickleball facilities in the sport of pickleball. So yeah, and I think Eastside can definitely stand the tail of time with that name. It's I think what we're going to be doing here is maybe revamping the logo a little bit, but I think the name should always.
Got it.
I think that's a great placeholder.
Yeah. No, and everything from like the old vintage green color kind of being your guys' color.
I think a lot of people are taking it now. Like I don't know. I feel like I've seen a lot of things.
I know one place. That,
I've been seeing a lot
also
of
done it.
places that are just magically popping up. I mean, green is not my color. Like I trademarked this color. It's not Eastside's own color.
Thank you, because green's mine, because I got green eyes, so I appreciate that.
I got black.
Yeah, so I need to snag one of you guys' shirts, but even from like, I mean, your website is very well developed.
Yeah.
It's not like you just hired a cheap website developer to make something.
No, yeah.
You guys have cool fonts, like matching fonts that match your guys' logo with your courts. You guys even have not only merch, but like very well thought out and creative pieces on your guys' shirts.
Yeah.
Like you guys have an F1 car on your guys' shirts.
F1 last year, yeah.
Yeah, like you guys also.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, I think brands or companies that are trying to strictly stick to pickleball is great, right? They know what they want to do. They have an end goal for it. But I think where we kind of get a little different is there's just so much to passion-wise of like what the ownership of Eastside loves, right? So we're kind of not necessarily, we are doing it for the members and the community and everything like that. Yeah, I think like from a passion standpoint, like this cocktail bar wasn't necessarily something that was like, we have to have it. It was more so like, how cool would it be to have this really dope facility, right? That, it's got vintage brick, it's got exposed concrete, and then just tuck a little speakeasy in there for the members to enjoy.
And it isn't just, this is a public
it's
bar,
public,
correct?
public.
Which is pretty interesting, like a pretty interesting take on this bar in specific, because that means you're trying to attract outsiders to come to this bar without playing pickleball.
Exactly, but then it puts eyes on this. Yeah, exactly. It's like this kind of snowball effect where you kind of come in here, hopefully you indulge in a couple drinks, but then you can actually see, people enjoying themselves, right? When you come here to drink, hopefully it's after 5 o'clock, but you're going to see a place where people are enjoying playing pickleball. There's an abundance of people. There's music going on. So it's just like this whole package, right? And to like go back to your question is like, I feel like everything we've been doing from like merch to hopefully like custom paddles and everything like that is just to build the culture, right? Like make this brand bigger than just pickleball. So I think, we've done a good job, I think, thus far, but there's obviously more to be had.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that you guys are still extremely early. And I know that you mentioned, your guys' plan to exit in the future, but I mean, where do you see this sport going, in the next few years, and how are you planning for Eastside Paddle Club to stay ahead of the curve in such a rapidly growing market?
So the first thing is, I think the sport of pickleball, I don't even know if it really has a stopping point. The numbers are insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. It really is.
The crazy thing is seeing social media and seeing like 12, 13-year-olds. What was your thing? It was like you were like the highest 6-0 or 5-0?
I was the youngest nationally ranked 5-0.
Okay.
October 2016, I got the email.
How old were you?
I think it was 12. It's going in the Guinness Book of World
Holy
Records.
shit.
I had some like random email
12?
from this guy, and he was like, yo, like, can you send me the official document? So I sent it over.
That's wild.
I don't know if it was a joke or not. Like, I don't know if it was actually Guinness
flex,
or
dude.
something. But I mean, how badass would it be?
Let me get a
for-
frame of like that thing and then just sign it.
Yeah.
I'll chuck it in here all
like
day.
an old photo of me, just
Sick.
buzz cut, chubby, with a freaking fat smile.
Fuck yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sport of pickleball, I don't really see it stopping. I mean, there's eventually has to be a plateau, but I don't think it's here within the near future. It's just a sport where anyone and everyone can get into and enjoy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you see people on social media old? I mean,
No, I see you lose to grandmas all the time, dog.
tell them, don't tell them. But oh my gosh, I'd have lost to like a 70-year-old. I got beat bad, but he used to play tennis professionally, so
Yeah, that's not fair.
yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
And it was a couple months ago, so I was not
We've
the level I am
recovered.
today. Yeah, but yeah, I don't see the sport ever slowing down. And to answer your second question, I think us continuing on this path of being very strategic on where we expand to, making sure that our package and our foundation of Eastside always stays the same. I think the second we switch is the second that we'll see a decline in kind of our loyalty, right? So I think thus far, we have people that have been here since day one, like love the place to death. They're closer to other facilities, but they choose to be here is like a massive thing. So I think that really puts an anchor onto like how well we've been doing from a culture sense. So I think us just continuously on this path of like staying in our lane. We know what we have to do right, and not trying to be somebody else. I think that's the biggest thing. Is like the second we try to become, I'm not going to say any names, but the second we try to be somebody else is the second that we're going to lose people because what's different now from us and them, right? So.
Well, thank you for all the input. You definitely provided a lot of nuance in this entire thing. Is there anything you want to plug before we go?
Sign up. Sign up.
Yeah, and host car meets, dog.
Yeah, I would love to, man. I actually was thinking about it 2 or 3 days ago. I was like, dude, we should just do it. But it's getting commitments from a lot of different people and I think the people that I want to get commitments from, it's really hard with like the network thing, right? And them being at different levels of their life where scheduling is so hard. Getting everybody to commit to a certain date and knowing that I can't have one of them back out, it's tough, but I think if we can do it and we can pull it off, it'd be awesome, right?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, listen, this was a great talk. You're the first person on the official, I don't even have a name for it. I think it's just a conversation with me. So
That's actually a cool name.
Yeah.
There you go.
So awesome. Thanks for being on. Appreciate it.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that.